10 things to hoard now. Isn't that crazy? That terminology has been kind of frowned upon. It's almost been taboo. We don't need to hoard. Well, some of these things are things that typically do not get hoarded, or things that you typically would throw away. And we can see that she is wanting to be part of the action today. But today's video is going to be a good one. We're going to be talking about things that you should be hoarding that are typical things that you either have, things you pick up, and things that some people don't even think about. Let's jump into the video. It's going to be a good one, and it starts right now.
Standing underneath the lights, looking into each other's eyes.
I knew if I stood next to the cattle field, it may be a little loud, but today we were just walking. It's a beautiful morning, got all the chores done, and I stopped right here, and of course they're gonna bellow and let me have it because they want some feed or something like that. So welcome to the Max. Thank you so much for being here today. If you're new to the Max, go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell. I keep saying this, but it is so true. We've got a monster giveaway for thousands of dollars of gifts, things that can help you start prepping, things that can help you start homesteading, things that can help you make wise decisions and being sustainable, maybe even growing a garden. All these things are free, no sign up required other than just subscribing to the channel. At 200,000, we're gonna do a live giveaway, and we're gonna be giving away thousands of dollars worth of prizes, several, so you have a good chance of winning. So make sure you are subscribed to our channel, that way you will be entered into the giveaway. Hoarding has been a bad terminology lately, and it scares people. I'm not trying to scare you or panic you. The things that I'm talking about today's video is not just typical food, not just typical things that we would typically hoard or buy and panic buy, such as bread, flour, milk, eggs, those kind of things. It's gonna be things that you sometimes may not think of, and things that you may have laying around. So let's jump into the list right now. Number one is ash. It's winter, so everybody's got their fireplaces going. Don't just throw that ash out. You can utilize ash in so many different ways. Maybe there's chunks of charcoal or activated wood in there that you can use for health and medicinal benefits, even for your animals. Maybe you can spread it across land and grass and gardens because it is adding value back to the soil. That is a form of decayed wood or a form of cleaning up natural resources. So take the wood chips or the wood or the ash that you've got out of your fireplace, spread it around, use it in your gardens, use it on your fields, use it in your yard. Studies show that it's very good for your animals. You could even put it in your soaps. It's very good. Don't throw away the ash. Keep it, utilize it, making sure you're doing wise decisions instead of just throwing it out in a pile. Number two is newspapers and magazines. Now these things you don't see as much anymore because we're in a digitized world. There is still towns that do weekly and daily newspapers. Keep those. Not only can you read last week's news, you can light a fire. You can place it down in your garden spots, and guess what? It helps kill weeds. We think of back to Eden style gardening. There's so many benefits to it, and guess what? Most of the time it's free, or you can pick it up for pennies on the dollar. Especially older newspapers and magazines that people are throwing away, you can utilize it. It is now a great fire starter for no charge, and also a way that you can start gardens. That's probably the main two reasons that I would say hoard newspapers and magazines. Number three is screws and tools. Now this is not just saying you need a tool chest. You always need a toolbox and a tool chest. But Harbor Freight and even Home Depot and even Walmart and Northern Tools, all kinds of places. There's all kind of tool places that you can go and buy little small kits of extra washers, extra nuts, extra bolts, extra screws, extra little screwdrivers, big screwdrivers, wrenches. Those things are good to have. And you don't have to buy the high-end ones. Now, if you're working with tools all the time, you're in construction, or you're using them for main maintenance, you need to have a good set of tools because that does play into it. But I have bought so many economic tools from Harbor Freight just to throw in the truck, just to throw extras in the house to be able to fix little things. The other day, my dairy pump, it basically broke a little bolt and the nut came off, no more washer. Well, guess what? I went back, had an extra bolt, had an extra nut, and be able to tie it back on with the extra washer, and guess what? We are back in operation. You don't realize how valuable those small little pennies, cents, and nickels and dollars that you spend on those kind of things can save you a ton of money and a ton of time to have on hand. Hoard those things. A lot of people don't think about that, but if you need to fix some little gadgets, some little tedious things, some things that deal with your home, It's good to have that in supply. Number 4 goes along with that. You may not be an electrician, you may not be a plumber. You need to have some of those things at your home, in your preps, or at your farm. Things like extra pipe. I keep a lot of PVC. Now, I'm not saying I keep hundreds of foot of PVC, but I have so much water running across my place. I may keep a few 90s. I may keep a few pieces of 1 inch, 2 inch, maybe a 3/4 inch, depending on what I've ran all over the farm. I may keep some PEX. I have some PEX lines running underneath. So I may keep some of that and also the connectors for it. I'm gonna keep some pipe cleaner. I'm gonna keep some glue. Why? Just so I don't have to go anywhere. I mean, you think we had 12-degree weather the other day and we were able to keep it all safe with some insulation that we had on hand and some pipes. Now, what's so funny, even in 12 degrees, we had some pipes burst and still were able to have some of those things here on farm to fix that. Others we had to go buy, so it taught us a lesson. We need to stockpile maybe a little bit more and things that we typically wouldn't have stockpiled. I had a lot of PVC, but no brass fittings. So I said, you know what? From now on, I will have some brass fittings, and that will be a lesson learned. Same way with wire. If you have to fix a little plug, if you have to kind of tie something together, don't be stupid. If you don't know anything about electricity, the best thing to do is turn it all off and fix it then. But learn a little, you know, just a little tinkering. If it's just simply replacing a fan, replacing a light switch, or maybe just tying up some loose ends. Get it? That's kind of funny. Tie it up so it won't, you know, kill you or something like that. But make sure you have some of those things on hand. It's good to hoard. I love putting extra pipe. Pipe is so dirt cheap. You can buy PVC for nothing. And I just put a lot of it in our shop, keep it there just in case. Number 5 is books. Making sure you are picking up books. When it comes to homesteading, when it comes to survivalship, comes to prepping, comes to lessons learned, canning, recipe books. Those things are good because they never go out. They're always being able to be utilized. Herbal medicines, tinctures, wild edibles, foraging. We talk about those books a lot because they're so important to us. There's a lot of books on farms that people were doing regenerative ag that we've picked up and I've read, and I put them back in there because that's what I may need to refer back to them. We may not have our phones and our internet all the time. We need to be able to build smarts by looking at our books, going back to reference some of the things that we need to learn. I think of canning. Canning really has not changed over the years. Now, you may have a new canner and they may provide a new canning book, but there's people using the Ball Blue books from years and years and years ago. Just because you buy an updated version, they may change a recipe, but not the actual principles. Same way with regenerative ag or gardening. There's innovative ways, but to be honest with you, it goes back to the basics. Get some books on some of those things. I would challenge you to have scripture and a Bible close because that is ultimately the best way to prep. But make sure you're putting some books in your library. You're not gonna always have digitized forms of them. I'm gonna blow your mind with this one, but this is one of the cheapest preps that you can buy, and I think it's one of the smartest. Number 6 is crayons. Now, why do I say crayons? Not only is I enjoy coloring, I'm sorry, I'm gonna admit it. Not only do my kids enjoy coloring, not only is it a good pastime, especially when, like, for instance, the power was kind of off and on the other day. Also, we do a lot of homeschooling and it helps with our younger kids to stay active. It helps us to be creative. It gives us some time with our family. But on the survival and prepping, do you know a crayon can light and it's like a little match? It's like a little candle because of the wax and the buildup of whatever the crayon is. So it can be a way that you could have just a little light source just until you get something else on. Do you realize you can buy a box of crayons for pretty cheap? So you have 64 candles there, 32 candles there, 8 candles there. Be innovative. Not only can you color with your kids, spend some time with them, you can have some little candles at your disposal to be able to utilize. Hoarding crayons. Never thought you'd hear that on this channel, huh? Number 7, socks, shoes, and boots. We have actually talked about this in another video dealing with winter prepping and survivorship, but we don't realize how valuable our feet are and how they can carry us all these places. We need socks. My wife bought me some true alpaca fiber socks the other day, and I thought she was crazy because they were a little bit more expensive than just a typical wool sock that you'd buy at any store. But they were made here in America and just beautiful quality. And I said, well, you know, they're just socks. But those socks are phenomenal. They keep my feet from sweating, but also from freezing to death. When we're out here at 12, 13, 14, 16, 20 degrees, 30 degrees, and we have to milk cows, or we're in the mud and muck and mire, or simply we're just working around the house, or you're working at your job and you're outside, having a good pair of socks and shoes is key. Now, You need more than one pair of socks and shoes. For instance, with boots, I love high-C rubber boots. That's what I wear on farm for 5 years. But these boots, I usually have one pair that I wear every day because I'm out in the, with the cows or whatever. But I have another pair usually in the closet and another pair maybe in the truck, because we see the value in having that rubber boot to keep our feet warm, dry, and also dealing with the things that we have to deal with. Same way with my Western style boots. I have a steel toe boot that I use. I want to make sure I have 2 pair of those. With shoes, anything like that, think about what you do every day. If you're in the gardens every day, it may be a different kind of shoe. If you're a businessman and you're working inside every day, it may be a different kind of shoe. Find something that fits well for what you do every day and start buying those things. We don't realize how important our feet are, especially when it comes to prepping, survival, and homesteading. I want to make sure I have a good work boot, good work shoe that I can work around the farm with, because ultimately that's how we take care of these animals, which take care of us. Number 8 is coffee filters. You can buy coffee filters for dirt cheap, and you can buy tons of them. Now, not only do you want to drink coffee and enjoy that, it's a way that you can filter water. It's a way that you can light a fire. It's a way that you can pick up a cheap paper that no one else thinks about to do the things you need to do when it comes to maybe heating your home, maybe cleaning up your water. We don't realize being innovative and learning how to do things as a survivalist or as a prepper or as a homesteader or as a farmer can actually go further in our life and help us be more creative to learn new things. Maybe you just needed a simple biodegradable plate and you're just eating a sandwich. Well, it saves you. You have a coffee filter. You can buy usually 200 or 300 coffee filters for like $1 or $2 at your local store. And then now you've got this little sandwich plate that you can turn around and utilize in your fire. You could turn around and utilize in your compost because it's just a carbon source, or you can turn around and use it wherever. It's just easy. So now let's hoard some coffee filters. We actually have a sunrise today, so it's getting a little bright, so I gotta finish this video. Number 9 is firewood. We've talked about firewood all the time. We talked about ash just a while ago. Firewood is so important. Please understand how important firewood is. Me and Aiden actually cut up a chunk, actually it's probably a good cord of wood yesterday. Not that we had to have it, but it was a tree that was already kind of fell down. It was sitting there and we had the time. We said, let's go ahead and break that down. It's great exercise, it's great work for you. It's also great family building time for you and your children. I'm telling you, it actually is good to go outside and do things. Cutting firewood is one of the most enjoyable things. It's like therapy to me. I don't know. I think it's the strangest thing, but I really enjoy it. Me and Aiden had a great time yesterday. We picnicked out there. All the rest of the kids came out there. We had a good time by the lake. But the importance of firewood is you can heat your home. You can light a fire outside to cook over. There are so many benefits to it. Now I hear people all the time, they'll say, well, I don't have a fireplace. What's it matter? Maybe you need a chimenea outside. Maybe you have one of those little fire pits outside that you can literally cook over if you ever had to. I actually have lit fires at campfires, and we've done it here where we've cooked chili over it. We just had a simple tripod, wrought iron, little holder for a pot. Things like that. We don't realize how important firewood is. Now this would also go back to charcoal and lighter fluid. Having those things in excess to making sure that you can not only light something and have heat, it is a way that you can purify your water. It's a way that you can cook and take care of your family. Hoarding firewood is very important. If I find a felled tree and it's a hardwood, I'm cutting it up because I don't want to waste the benefit of that. Also, if we find junk trees, we can utilize those for other reasons. If we find a pine, that helps us light fires because it has that sap in it. There's so many benefits to having firewood and having brush, having things like that around. It's good to hoard. Number 10 is Band-Aids, gauze, and Vaseline. Now that's kind of loaded. We have a whole video on medical, building your own little survival prepping hospital at your home. Picking up some Band-Aids here and there. I would actually say more than the Band-Aids, I think of Vaseline. Here we make our own kind of Neosporin Vaseline. Misty does for minor cuts and abrasions. But because you're always working with your hands, because you're always in the dirt with your gardens, maybe because you're always at the office and you're doing something, you get paper cuts all over your hands, I don't know. Maybe you're working with lumber and you're always getting splinters and you're having open sores on your hands and on your body. We don't realize just Vaseline to help kind of cover that up, help it to heal. It gives a natural barrier to where then you're not having to stop what you're doing. I know in winter, I tend to always have like dried hands because I'm always doing stuff around the farm and the coldness has just got them dry. A little Neosporin or a little bandage or Vaseline will go a long ways. Now, if you can make it, Misty I think has a video. If so, I will link it below for those minor cuts and abrasions. But if you don't, just pick up some. Hoard some Band-Aids, some Neosporin, and some simple Vaseline. Again, if you're interested in a whole medical playlist, we have a hygiene and a medical survival kit that you need to watch. Deals with first aid, deals with kind of building your emergency hospital. We'll link it below, but just pick up those few things. A lot of times people don't realize how valuable things can be, especially in a situation where a crisis happens. Kind of a crap hits the fan situation. Have your newspaper, have your crayons, have you some coffee filters, and when everybody else is freaking out, you can be coloring your books, reading some books, starting some fire, and you'd be surprised how prepared you are. Because when you talk about all the food that we've done and you've prepped up those things, having these few little things to pick up when everybody else is freaking out, it makes you enjoy life and know that you're going to be able to take care of your family and be wise and innovative and creative at the same time. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helps. I always do these videos in encouragement to you. Some things are big purchases. Some things are free, like the potash. Some things are byproducts. Some things are recycled. But ultimately, all of them can help you be a better person in wisdom gaining to help your family thrive during whatever situation that comes our way. Guys, thank you so much for watching. God bless. Happy homesteading, y'all.
There's no one left but you and me. It's like a made-up place that only we can see.